Good day, you've come upon Digesting Beer with Stefan. We're having a smoothie-inspired IPA today from one of the most exciting and fun breweries, Omnipollo, the Swedish gypsy brewer and graphic designer duo. Always have very interesting labels. This one is called Abrahadabra, and the smoothie inspiration has led them to brew this with strawberries, vanilla, and lactose. And I looked on the website, and they also said they use wheat flour and oats. And I think this Abrahadabra is really just a less extreme version, or maybe it was the first version they brewed of a smoothie shake IPA, because they also make a milkshake IPA, and that one, they say they specifically throw wheat flour, regular all-purpose flour, into the boil, which is a very weird thing I've never heard of. They don't say they do that with this beer, so I have a feeling they don't do that. And I think the milkshake one also has, I think it might have apples, and it's also 7% alcohol. This one doesn't have quite as many crazy ingredients, and it's only 6%. And I actually found a bottle of it. This was just shipped around to the New England area, and I think it's probably still pretty fresh, because the earliest I heard, I think it was just this week is when it showed up in New England. Yeah, unfortunately, Omnipollo never has like any kind of dating anywhere in their bottles, but I know this was brewed at Crazy Mountain Brewing in Colorado, so the beers from Colorado might get here a little more quickly than if this is made in Belgium, where some of their beers are brewed. And I remember the milkshake one having a really interesting texture, and that's what Omnipollo is really going for with these beers, is finding a unique texture, but still delivering some IPA flavors. And a lot of the fruitier IPA hops now have kind of berry flavors and things that seem like they will mix well with the vanilla and strawberry and lactose. Lactose, which is milk sugar that's unfermentable, so it doesn't really give much of an actual milk flavor. It just gives a fuller, creamier mouthfeel with just a touch of residual sweetness. And this one has been in my fridge for a little bit, so there's some sediment on the bottom. So maybe I'll first do a pour where it's mostly clear beer on the top, clearish beer, and then I'll mix in some of the sediment. Ooh, very interesting color. It's golden, but it's got like a little pinkish hue to it. And good amount of carbonation. Yep, still pretty hazy. It's only going to get hazier from this part, but it doesn't have that glow like I get from Trillium golden hazy beers and other ones. There's something a little different going on here. I think the oats and the lactose and the strawberries are bringing a different kind of look to it, which isn't bad at all, and totally makes sense. Proves to me that it actually has those ingredients in there. Oh yeah, they said citra hops are in here too, so it smells really good. It smells like a strawberry smoothie, basically. Not quite as intensely tart, but I get the berries. Like, the berries move the citra fruitiness over into a more ripe berry realm. It smells really, really good. There's just a touch of ruby red grapefruit, but the strawberries and vanilla come out clear, but they're combining with the hops really well. It almost reminds me of some more Britishy sort of berry hops, but it doesn't have that wicker chair woody tea thing going on. This is just still insanely fruity. And doesn't have any of the resiny, oniony, or sweaty sort of side of the of citra hops in there. It's just succulent, ripe berries and fruit, and there's definitely that tropical fruit thing going on, a little bit of a pineapple, passion fruit thing. And it's got that the vanilla helps combine with that sort of cakey candy qualities from the Citra too. It smells really nice. The aroma isn't gigantic, but it's pretty strong, and I'm getting lots of clear flavors in the nose. Yeah, it smells really good. And the vanilla just works so well, surprisingly. I would have originally never thought vanilla and lactose would be great in IPAs, but that's why I'm really like Omnipollo, and they're putting in innovative ingredients that just work so well, and you wouldn't think they would in like an IPA like this. But it just smells like, yeah, sweet nectar. Oh yeah, the vanilla comes out more. Ooh, there's still a good amount of bitterness though. Yeah, it's very much like almost more like a shake, maybe like a smoothie with a little bit of vanilla ice cream in there, or maybe using vanilla yogurt. The body isn't super creamy, but I didn't pour all the sediment in there, and it's also only 6%. I think the milkshake was a little bit fuller bodied. And there's a little bit of a graininess, but the milkshake was fuller bodied, and that wheat flour they add gave it kind of a grainy texture. It has a little bit of a graininess to it. But the finish is just, maybe it's just the slight acidity that strawberry is mixed with a little bit of resinous pine bitterness in the finish that's making it a little astringent. But a lot of fun, but it's just not, the finish isn't super juicy, like a hazy Citra IPA you might think would be. Even though it smells like that, the finish is surprisingly bitter. And there's a little bit of a bitter pill, like chewing on aspirin sort of bitterness. It's really interesting because that's usually what I get from Brettanomyces. There's definitely no Brettanomyces in this. They definitely would have told you about that. And it's very good. It's very unique though. Maybe I'll get used to this bitter finish, but it's got that a grainy, chalky pill bitterness to it. It's a little much. I was hoping it'd be a little bit softer. And the aroma was just smelled so much like sweet candy, and the flavor is so strawberry vanilla. It's really unique and really nice, but I don't know, this finish is just a little bit harsh. And the way the fruits mix in with the Citra hops is just amazing. It's all combining. It's not like some fruit IPAs. I usually don't like fruity IPAs too much, but I've had a couple experimental ones recently that worked really well. But a lot of IPAs people like throw grapefruit and grapefruit peels and lemon peels or lime peels, and with those ones it's kind of like you just mix some kind of a cocktail in with an IPA, and I can really separate like the lemon peel flavor from the actual hop flavors, and it's just a little distracting and a little bit of a mess in my opinion, but everything melds together really well in this one. But it finishes with this really bitter pill chalky thing happening still that's not super pleasant actually in my opinion. And there's a little bit of a sweetness to it, definitely. But it's not enough to kind of deal with that chalky finish. Yeah, I don't know, the aroma and flavor I could do really well with this one, but maybe let's add a little bit of the yeasty stuff in there. Now it's gotten even hazier, and it's glowing a little bit. It is a pretty beer, definitely. And the smell is just fantastic. Um, yeah, and especially when there's a little bit of the head dies down because there's a touch of acidity. But it reminds me of some of the other very tropical fruit and berry IPAs I've had. But there's a really distinct special quality that comes from the vanilla and the texture that really makes it like a smoothie IPA. It's a great description and great idea. I just wonder if they could figure out how to make that finish a little bit different, but retain the same flavors and textures before that bitter finish. But I'd give this like an 81 or something like that. I want to give it a higher rating, but that finish is just not sitting well with my tongue and throat. I highly recommend giving this one a try. Kind of wish I had someone to share this with. Might call a friend, have him come over. But it's worth giving this one a try. If you see it around, or if you see it on tap, I think maybe the milkshake one might be a little better, but that one I had a smaller amount of, and it was on tap. But I think it had a similar bitter finish to this. But I'll do 82 for the Omnipollo Abrahadabra smoothie-inspired IPA. Goodbye.